Numerical problem solving on set theory and logic. First question, define following with proper set notation and example: membership, proper subset, power sets, empty sets, cardinality of sets and multiset. Membership represented by this symbol belongs to indicate set membership and means is an element of. Statement X belongs to A means that X is an element of set A. For example, A is set with element 1, 2, 3. Now here I can tell that 2 belongs to set A, and to write the element which doesn't belong to, I will write 4 doesn't belong to my set. Proper subset represented by this symbol. Proper subset of a set is A intersection B is a subset of A that is not equal to your B. Now this A is my proper subset of my B. Now this can be considered in other word as, if A is my proper subset of B, then all the elements of my set A will be inside my set B, but B will contain at least one element which is not in set A. Means B is bigger than your set A. For example, A is in the diagram, A is having 3 elements 1, 2, 3 and B is having 4 elements, that is 1, 2, 3, 4. Now inside this B is having at least one element which is not present in your this set. Now A is my proper subset of set B. Power set. The collection of all possible subset of a given set is called a power set of that set under the consideration. Example, set A is having 2 elements A, B. Now all possible subset will be all occurrences of your elements, and we just have to write it in the set notation. 0 occurrence of this will become null set. 1 occurrence of this element written as a set will be set A, set with A element, set with only B element. 2 occurrences of element will be set with A, B. Now list these are all possible subset of your given set. Now this will be element of your power set of your set A. Empty set. Empty set is a set which contains no element. It is denoted by phi. For example, I am having natural numbers, that is 1, 2, 3 and so on. We have to find the natural number which is present in between 7, 8. X, such that X belongs to N and 7 is less than X is less than 8. There is no number present in between 7 and 8 which is natural number. So our set will become phi. Empty set or null set. Cardinality of set. It is count of number of elements present in a set. A is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 elements are there. Cardinality is 4. B is having 6 elements 1, 21, 33, 54, 99, 4, 35. So cardinality of B written as mod B is equal to 6. Multiset. It is a collection of well-defined and unordered object where an element can appear any number of times in a set. Examples: the collection of number 1, 1, 2, twice 1, twice 2, 3, 4 is a multiset. The collection of number 1, 2, 3, 4 is a multiset. Set A with element P, Q, R, S is a multiset. Next question. Let A is equal to phi, B. Construct the following set: A minus phi, phi u, minus A union P of A. Now here, for performing any operation on your set, whatever operator you are having, on that LHS and RHS side, you should write all the elements. This means if you are having any operator, plus, minus, sub, anything, on the LHS side you should have all the elements written inside the 2 curly braces, and on the RHS side you should have all the elements written inside your curly brace. Then and then only we can perform the operation. So we'll list out that element. Set A is phi, B minus phi u. So again this is not in a curly brace, so write down in a curly brace format. This will become phi, B minus this. Perform subtraction of only elements present inside this 2 curly brace. Subtract only these elements, so it will become phi, B minus this nothing. So it will be my phi, B. In the same way, element with phi, set with element phi minus set A, it will be phi minus phi comma b, and it will be phi minus this phi comma b. So it will give me the value that is minus b, but we never write any element in the negative format. Instead, we don't consider that element and only consider largest possible elements from LHS side of my operator. So my element will be nothing in my result, so it will be a phi. A union power set of A. Now P of A is all possibility of my phi comma b, all phi comma b, all possible subset of my phi comma b. So they will be 0 occurrence phi, 1 occurrence of this element subset set with element 5, 1 occurrence of b, and so on. So we'll get P of A power set is phi comma set phi set with b set with phi comma b element. Now we have to perform this union operator. In the same way, whatever operator we are performing on both LHS and RHS side, write all this thing in the curly brace format. So we have written out. Now in union operator, we will consider only one occurrence from both the set, whatever element you are having. Now phi, only consider only one occurrence and write it down in the result. So phi b and this phi comma b set. So this is my A union P of A. Next question, what is a multiset? Let P and Q are two multiset defined as P is equal to triple time A, C, double time D. Q is double time A, B, double time C. Obtain union intersection difference of two multiset P and Q. As discussed earlier, multiset is a set with collection of well-defined and unordered object where element inside that set can appear any number of times. For example, the collection double times 1, double times 2, 3, 4 is a multiset. Now we have to perform union intersection and difference operation on this multiset. So union of two multiset is maximum of multiplicity of the element between any two set. For example, here P is given that A is appeared thrice, C is appeared once time, D is appeared twice. Q is double A, B, double C. Now consider only for set element B A, that is inside set P, A is appeared thrice, 3 times, and inside set Q, A is appeared twice. So inside this appearances 3 and 2, 3 is larger one. We have to consider maximum number of time appeared in any of the set, that is 3. So we will write in our result, that is A union Q will be 3 times A. In the same way, B is appeared 0 time in P and 1 time in Q. So inside these two, one is a larger time, so maximum time where B is appeared in the set Q. So we will write B. So final, in the same way, proceed for the next element. We will get the final result as P union Q will be triple times A, B, double times C, double time D. Intersection of two multiset is a minimum of multiplicity of elements in between any of the two multiset. Whatever things we did for union, exactly in opposite way we have to calculate the intersection. Now consider for element A. Here 3A is appeared thrice and inside set Q A is appeared twice. So here we have to consider minimum occurrence of your element inside this two set, that is 2. So we will write A twice. For set B, for element B, B is appeared 0 time in P and 1 time in Q. Now in this 2, appearance of B 0 is smaller, so we will not write B in our result. In the same way, proceed for the next, we will get the answer, that is P intersection Q on multiset is equal to double time A C. Difference of multiset is just the difference of multiplicity of the two elements from the two multiset. P minus Q will be 3 times A minus 2 times A will become 1 time A. For example, here B is appeared 0 time minus 1 time B. So we never write any element in minus multiplicity, so we will not consider this B. Proceed for the next, we will get the answer, that is P minus Q is A comma double times D. Q minus P is a B comma C. Next question, that is prove that the set of rational number is countably infinite. For a detailed explanation, please check link given above. I will shortly revise this. This can be written by using Cantor diagonalization argument. This can be proved by Cantor diagonalization argument. And in that, what we are doing, we are just taking for real numbers, we are just taking some small subset, and from that subset, we are proving that a set of real number is uncountable. For time being, we are taking the only numbers, real numbers which is lying between 0 and 1. We are assuming that this set is countable. If the set is countable, then we can write the first element, second element, third element of our set, and so on. Now we are randomly picking any numbers from 0 to 1 and listing out, and after that what we are doing, we are just making this number is first element, this is second element, this is third, fourth, and so. Means what we are doing, this is called as the numbers which are for 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. These are the numbers which are members of your natural number, and this is real numbers. These are real numbers. So this is called as 1-to-1 mapping of your natural number to real number. Means you are just labeling your first element, second element, third element of your real numbers. Then to disprove this assumption, what we have to do, we have to prove that some new number are there. There are some new numbers which is not in the list. For that, now we have to prove that we have to construct our new number which is not in the list. Now for proving this, we are considering elements after diagonal places. For each element, for first element, the place after diagonal is first element is picked. From second element, the second place after decimal point is picked. From third element, third place from after decimal point is picked. And by picking all of this, we form new number that will become 0.37210, and so on. Now, this number will be present in the list, but to disprove the theorem, we should have to get the number which is not present in the list. So, we'll just perform any mathematical operation on this number, on this individual places. So, we'll just perform addition of number 1 in each and every decimal places. So, the final number we will get, that is 0.48321. After that, now this new number will give us guarantee that this first place of my new number, this is my new number, will never be equal to my first place of my first number, that is 3. 3 and 4 are not equal. Second place of my new number will never be equal to second number's second place. Means from each and every number, I am getting the difference in at least in one position. I am getting the different number. We can conclude from this that this number will never be in your list. Whatever list you are calculating, whatever number you are labeling, so you will get some new numbers which is not present in your given list. That is our proof. But afterwards we can say that these number are infinite number. List can go up till any number of times, and this can go up till any number of times. Means there are infinite numbers are present here, and there are infinite numbers present in our list. But this number I cannot map whether it's 100th number, 1000 number, or which nth number is this number. So this count is smaller, but this count of this number is real number is larger than your set of natural numbers. Means what we can say that there is mapping from natural number can be less. The numbers from this natural number set is infinite, which is less compared to your real number set. But I cannot say how many times how many times my real number set is bigger, whether it's 2 times bigger, thrice time bigger than your natural number, whether it's 5 times bigger, 3 times, which time, how many times it is showing me that this set is greater than your natural number. So approximately I am not able to get how many times your this real set is, means your natural number is how many times smaller than your real number. So this is not known. So we can conclude that this infinity elements can be countable, we can count, but these elements cannot be countable. If randomly I tell you find out 100th number, you cannot be able to count. So in this list of real numbers, so this will become uncountable. So it proves that the set of real numbers is uncountably infinite. Next question, that is, let S be a set of integers from 1 through 1000. How many of them are not divisible by 3, nor 5, nor 7? So this can be written as nor by 3 will be this, nor by 3, nor by 5 and nor by 7. And second sub question is how many are not divisible by 5 and 7 but divisible by 3. The meaning of this is how many are there which are not divisible by 5 and 7 but divisible by 3. Means we just have to calculate the only portion which is only divisible by 3. Let's solve first sub question, that is how many of the numbers are not divisible by 3, 5 and 7. So this can be written by using the formula, that is that will be only white part in this portion, that is a none portion, and that can be calculated as universal set minus this portion which is grabbed by your 3, 7 and 5 numbers which are either divisible by 3, 7 or 5. So it will be U minus A union, universal set minus A union B union C, that is none portion. So for getting this whole equation, we should solve this equation first. We don't know what is the value of this equation. For solving that portion, we can use principle of inclusion and exclusion theorem. So we can say that the numbers which are divisible by 3 are 1000, because largest count is 1000. 1000 number are there. 1000 divided by 3. Just pick only the integer value of division. It will be 333. Numbers which are divisible by 5 from 1 to 1000 will be 1000 divided by 5. It will give me the value as 200. In the same way, numbers which are divisible by numbers which are divisible by 7 will be 1000 divided by 7, which will give me the count as 142 numbers are there which are divisible by 7. Numbers which are divisible by both 3 and 5 will be 1000 divided by 3 into 5. It will be 1000 divided by 15. So which will give me the answer, that is 66. In the same way, proceed for the next element. Numbers which are divisible by 3 and 7 will be 1000 divided by 3 into 7, and which will give me the final answer, that is 47. Numbers which are divisible by 5 and 7 will be 1000 divided by 5 into 7. So will give me the answer, that is 28. Numbers which are divisible by 3 and 5 and 7 will be calculated as 1000 divided by 3 into 5 into 7. So it will be 1000 divided by 105. And we just have to take only the integer portion of your result. It will be 9. So this is the data I am having regarding number 3, 7 and 5. We have to calculate what is this numbers, how many numbers are which are divisible by either 3 or 5 or 7. So that can be calculated. Just put all these values in this equation, which will be set A plus set B plus set C, numbers which are divisible by 3 or 7 or 5, A plus B plus C, minus numbers which are divisible by both 3 and 5, 3 and 7, 3, 5 and 7. Means minus intersection of two set, A intersection B minus A intersection C minus B intersection C, plus intersection of three sets, that is A intersection B intersection C. It will put the values in your equation. You will get the values, that is 543 numbers are there which are divisible by either 3 or 5 or 7. Now we know that numbers which are not divisible by 3 nor by 5 nor by 7 will be your whole universal set minus this portion, which will be none portion. So this will be 1000 minus 543, which will give me the answer, that is 457 numbers are there which are not divisible by 3 nor by 5 nor by 7. Next question, what we have to find, that is how many numbers are there which are not divisible by 5 and 7. So this will be written as 5 bar intersection 7 bar, but divisible by 3. So this can be termed in other way, that is only numbers which are divisible by 3. So which can be calculated by this portion. Just take out this portion from your Venn diagram. So this can be, now only this portion we have to calculate. How this will be get calculated? Whole this portion which is divisible by 3 minus, we don't have to consider numbers which are either divisible by any other numbers. We just have to calculate the numbers which are only and only divisible by 3. So that will become whole A minus A intersection B minus A intersection C. But while removing this 2, we have subtracted this numbers which are divisible by 3 and 5 and 7 one time extra. So we are just adding it into this equation. So equation will become A minus A intersection B minus A intersection C plus A intersection B intersection C. Put the values, you will get the answer, that is 229 numbers are there which are divisible by only 3 but not by 7 and 5. Next question, that is, in a survey of 60 people, 25 read Newsweek magazine, 26 read Time magazine, 26 read Fortune, 9 read both Newsweek and Fortune. We'll just write short form for Newsweek magazine as N, for Time as T, and for Fortune as F. The given data is 11 read both Newsweek and Time, 8 read both Time and Fortune, 8 read no magazine at all. So we will just draw the Venn diagram based on this data, and we will get all this data. Total 60 people are there in a survey. So your universal set will have 60 count, and this is the data given here. And 8 read no magazine at all. So this portion is not given. The next thing what we have to do is find the number of people who read all the 3 magazine and find number of people who read exactly 1 magazine. So this portion can be calculated by using A union B union C formula, that is principle of inclusion and exclusion. So there are total, this white portion is how many people which are reading no magazine at all. So which can be termed as this whole set, whole universal set, minus none portion will become our N union F union T will be total minus none portion. That will be 52 people are there who are reading either Newsweek magazine, either Time magazine, or Fortune magazine, or all. So just keep these values in this equation. We will get this formula. We will get the value for this. That will be, there are 3 people are there who are reading Newsweek and Fortune and Time magazine. Next question, we have to find how many number of people who read exactly 1 magazine. So we'll just let's solve for Newsweek magazine. So just take whole this circle from the Venn diagram, and we just have to calculate only the yellow portion in the Venn diagram. Now this will be only your people who are reading only Newsweek magazine, and this will be calculated as whole N minus N intersection F minus N intersection T plus N intersection F intersection T. Put the values, you will get the answer that there are total 8 people who read only Newsweek magazine. In the same way, we will calculate the values for Times magazine and Fortune magazine, and the answer we will get that only 12 people are there who are reading Fortune magazine, and there are 10 people who are reading only Time magazine. To calculate how many people who are reading only Newsweek magazine, only 1 magazine, exactly 1 magazine, we have to perform summation of all of this our result. That is how many people who read only Newsweek magazine, only Fortune magazine, and only Time magazine. We will get the final answer, that is 30 people are there who are reading only 1 magazine. Next question, that is, I will study discrete. This is the data given to us, that is use a PQR. Now PQR is a proposition. P is I will study discrete structure, Q is I will go to a movie, R is I am in a good mood. Write the English sentence that corresponding to each of the following. These are the formula or equation given for proposition. Before actually starting this, before actually solving that, we will see how many formats or how many operators are there which we can use for translating it into the English sentences. Now P intersection Q will be written in the English sentence as P and Q. Now here P and Q are the propositional statement. You just have to replace whole statement. P or Q will be written as P or Q. Negation of P is written as not P. P arrow Q or P conditional Q is written as if P then Q. P double arrow Q is written as P if and only if Q, and so on. So what the first thing we have to solve, that is negation of R arrow Q. Now here this can be written as if this term then this term. So it will be if not R then Q, and R is I am in a good mood. So to make not of R, we don't have to perform negation of whole this sentence, just only add not word in your sentence. So it will be your negation of your sentence. Don't perform negation of, don't find antonym for this word. So it will be if I am not in a good mood, not of R, if I am not in a good mood, then Q is your I will go to movie. This will be your answer. In the same way, go for calculation of negation of Q, and P will be not of Q and P. It will be I will not go to a movie and I will study discrete structure. Q arrow negation of P will be if Q then not P, and it will be, if I will go to a movie, then I will not study discrete structure. Negation of P, arrow negation of R will be, if negation of P, then negation of R. It will be, if not P, then not R. If I will not study discrete structure, then I am not in a good mood. The next question what we have to solve, that is, show that all natural numbers 1 cube plus 2 cube plus so on till n cube is equal to whole bracket 1 plus 2 plus 3 till n square. So this we have to show. We can show this by using principle of mathematical induction. Now here in the principle of mathematical induction, we are having two cases, two steps. That is, first step is base case and second step is induction step. In first step, we just have to assume that is your for the first value. Now first value for the equation is 1. Now this is true. And for induction step, we assume P of k is true and then we prove that P of k plus 1 is true. So let's solve this. Assume that this whole equation is P of n. Now first step is base case. In the base case, you have to consider first element, that is 1, and for that you have to solve that this equation is true. Now P of 1 is true when your this will be true when your LHS and RHS for this equation will be true. Now LHS will be 1 cube is equal to 1 and RHS will be, instead of n just put the values, that will be 1 whole square, it will be 1. So LHS and RHS are equal. So this P of 1 is true for the given equation. Next step is induction step. Here first of all we will assume that P of k is true. Now we will write down this equation. Then what we have to prove? We have to prove that P of k plus 1 is true. Now when we are proving that P of k plus 1 is true, we will just simply add k plus 1th term in your above equation, in your P of kth equation. Now we are just adding this in your equation. So for this proving, we have added k plus 1 cube on both the side of this equation, because your n cube is the element. We have just added this element on both the side, nth term or k plus 1th term on both the side. Now just solve LHS. It will be your 1 plus 2 plus k plus 1 whole square. Now this can be written as k plus 1. Now this can be written as n into n plus 1 divided by 2 by using the known equation, that is 1 plus 2 plus n is equal to n into n plus 1 divided by 2. Now here n is my final number, is my k plus 1. So it can be written as k plus 1 into k plus 1 divided by 2 whole square. So it will become k plus 1 into k plus 2 divided by 2 whole square. Now this is my LHS part. RHS part is this part, this whole term plus k plus 1 whole cube. Now this can be written as n into n plus 1 divided by 2, k into k plus 1 divided by 2 whole square. We will solve this. It will become k square into k plus 1 whole square divided by 2 square plus k plus 1 whole cube. It will further again become k square into k plus 1 whole square divided by 4 plus k plus 1 whole cube. Again solve this. K square into k plus 1 whole square plus 4 into k plus 1 whole cube divided by 4. Now after solving this equation, we will get that the value is final value will be k plus 1 into k plus 2 whole divided by 2 and its whole square. Now this is somewhat equal to your LHS. Now this is equal to LHS. Now we will label this equation as 3. From this equation, this 3 equation, which is LHS part of this equation, we can prove that this is equal to LHS. Since LHS and RHS are equal for k plus 1th value, we can say that it is true for k plus 1. Whenever our assumption is true, means what we have assumed that P of k is true, whenever our P of k is true. So from equation 1, P of 1, and our assumption P of k is true, and from value, that is P of k plus 1 is true, this fourth equation, by principle of mathematical induction, P of n is true for n, where n is a natural number, hence proved. The next question is that find DNF of this equation and CNF of this equation. Now DNF is disjunctive normal form and CNF is conjunctive normal form. DNF can be written as, in simple words, sequence of ORs of your terms, and where terms, individual terms, they can be ANDed with any other terms. Okay, and of different terms, whole bracket, ORed with another terms. This is my first term, second term, third term, and so on. In the opposite way, CNF is conjunctive normal form. Conjunction means and of the terms, but term is in the odd format. This is what we have to find from our equation. Now P arrow Q and Q arrow P whole bracket or P. These are the standard list of your laws, conversion laws or conversion equations. Now P arrow Q is written as negation of whole bracket P and negation of Q, which is equal to negation of P or Q by conversion theorem. Now what we have to find? We have to find a DNF. DNF is disjunctive normal form, means or of your two terms. Now here inside this term also we should have the and. So for this term what we will do, we will look for anything which is in the and format inside this two. So this can be converted into negation of P and negation of Q. Again this can be again replaced in this negation of Q and negation of P. Then we will solve this, then we will get that it will be negation of P or negation of Q will become is by using De Morgan's law. Then solve this. Afterwards we can get negation of Q is Q. So we'll get this answer. Till this answer, negation of P or Q whole bracket or with negation of Q or P and or with P. Now to solve this bracket or terms ANDed with another or terms. So how we can solve this term? Here both the operator are same, but the operator or we can say the symbol which is joining them is different. That is and. So one by one we have to perform the operation, that is negation of P ANDed with negation of Q. Negation of P ANDed with this middle symbol will be used for individual terms and this symbol will be used for joining the terms. This is my term. For individual term we will use the middle symbol and for joining this we will use this symbol. So it will give me the value, that is negation of P and negation of Q. One possibility, negation of or with negation of P and P or with Q and negation of Q or with Q and P. So this will be solved again. Now this will become false by using negation laws. Your negation laws are this P and negation of P or negation of P. So we are just keeping these values, then we'll get that false and false or false will be false. So just keep this value and final answer what we will get, that is negation of P and negation of Q or with Q and P or with P. So this is our final DNF format for our given equation. In the same way we can go for calculation of CNF, conjunctive normal form. P double arrow negation of P or negation of Q. We have to find conjunctive normal form. Now conjunctive normal form is conjunction means and of two terms where individual term is in the odd format. So we have to write individual terms for this equation. So we'll check which formula is there in which we can place individual term in odd format. So P double arrow Q can be written as P arrow Q and Q arrow P. So this can be again written as negation of P or Q and with negation of Q or P. These are some of the equation are given. So the term which is having or inside it, so that will be used. Now this is the formula, we will use it and we will solve. So we will get the answer, that is now this will be P and this will be Q for my equation. Now we will get the answer, that is negation of P or negation of P or negation of Q, this term and this term. Now again after solving this we will expand this thing. Now this bracket, now here we will expand this bracket. Now it will be this term. After solving this, the final answer we will get, that is negation of P or negation of Q whole ANDed with P or Q whole ANDed with P. So this is our final CNF.